Alright guys, so today we're making a special video because we're going to be doing 3 different things just to show you what a good semi-brunch thing I'd make. We're going to be doing 3 things. So number 1, we're going to be just simple frozen hash browns, just showing you guys, yeah, it is possible to make frozen hash browns taste really crunchy and really good. Just to show you guys, yeah, sometimes frozen food may come in clutch. And we will also be making a very simple frittata, just a very basic one of my favorites. And then we're going to be making a grilled cheese, absolute favorite. Who doesn't like grilled cheese? I mean, unless you don't like cheese, but whatever, you know what I'm saying. Now, some people would normally, show their face as they're showing the ingredients. Well, I'm going to just keep it simple. So first and foremost, let's get this frittata because it is actually going to be the hardest dish we're going to make in this video. So what I've got here is pancetta. Now what pancetta is, it is an Italian cured style bacon. It's not a normal bacon. It's got nutmeg, turmeric, and a bunch of different spices that they've used to cure it. And pancetta usually comes in diced like this. Although you can get a whole pancetta, I just suggest you get a pack like this because, well, number 1, it's already pre-diced. You don't have to waste your time dicing it. But of course, the fresher the thing is, the better. But for a home cook, if you're just cooking at home, get a packed pancetta. If you can't find pancetta, just use normal bacon. I'm just showing you the good stuff. I've also got 1 simple onion, very small onion. I think that's all we're going to need for this frittata. And then, of course, we need some cheese. So I've got some Gouda here, pre-packed, individually packed, of course. This is all home cooking, so that's why it's not that special. And then for the eggs, depending on your quantity, I'm doing for 3 people, so we're just gonna have 4 eggs. Of course, if you want a bigger frittata, go for like 6 or 7 eggs, but we can only eat so much back at my house, so yeah. So of course, you can put whatever toppings you want in your frittata, but I don't have a lot of veggies and a lot of other ingredients, so I don't have any greens, so the closest I have is an onion. So our 1 vegetable here will be an onion, and then pancetta for some protein, and then we got some cheese because it's not, and I ran out of Parmesan as well, so that's a little bit unfortunate. We'll show you the grilled cheese in a second and the hash browns, but first things first, you're going to want to do is to get a pan ready and then slice that onion. So let me just turn on the stove. Stove's on. Wonderful. Alright, let's get a pan out. I'm just using this. Make sure your pan has a metal handle so it can go in the oven. Yeah. Make sure the pan itself is oven proof. So preheat that bad boy. And number 1 rule, if it's a golden handle, do not put the pan in the oven if it has a metal rod. If it has a plastic rod. It is a super important step. Speaking of the oven, you gotta preheat the bad boy. So let's preheat it. So the oven is ready. So we're gonna do bake. Normally you do broil, but I feel like when you broil, it comes to temperature way too fast. So preheat it 350. So now it is preheating. Put it on bake. There you go. It should be preheating anytime now. So keep the light on so you can know. Alright. There you go. It is now preheating. So let's just peel the onion, get all that skin out. Now, you can fine dice the onion, but I like a little bit of texture, and I like to taste the onions, because I'm one of those who like onions. So I'm just gonna keep mine a little bit rustic, a little bit bigger chunks, but of course, feel free to fine dice it if you really don't want to taste the onions. So I'm just gonna throw away all this peel. Alright, slice the top off, throw that away. cry your eyes out. Okay, so what do I mean by keeping it whole? Well, number one, this onion itself is pretty small. It's not like those huge onions. So for my big chunks, I'm just gonna slice it in half first. Keep it like this, right? Oh my god, I'm already starting to cry. You'd love to see it. Just keep small chunks like this. Kind of, if you're a much more professional chef, you're probably gonna critique me for my cutting technique, but just hack it up, you know, honestly. Don't even bother like making it all night, just freaking hack it up. Occasionally drop a few pieces. Something like that. Hopefully that's good enough. And then we just take these halves and just make them into quarters. Of course, I am not a professional chef, and if you have the great knife skills, of course, it's all about the skill, not the speed. If you can chop well, you're good enough. So that's my onions. That's my onions already. So the pan should be smoking hot now. Really hot. So turn down the gas actually. It's like a little bit too. So first things first, we're going to cook the pancetta because it is the meat that usually takes the longest. However, pancetta is already sort of like cured, so it doesn't need too much time of cooking. So let's get some olive oil. Not too much because pancetta is naturally really fat. I mean, after all, it's bacon, so makes sense. So make sure your pan is nicely oiled, just like that. And we're gonna cook the pancetta first before we even think about adding the onions. Now, of course, this would be the time to add your peppers or whatever other veggies you've got. Like I said, I've only got onions, so we're making do with onions. So I'm gonna I like a lot of pancetta, so I'm just gonna put a bunch. Of course, adjust it to however you wish. I'm just gonna put a lot in, because I love pancetta. Give it a nice toss. Oh, one fell out. Love to see it. See, get the pancetta nice and crispy. That is top priority right now. This should be a good cuspious, I can't speak, good amount. You can see the pancetta here is getting a little bit crispy. Good. Now it's a green light to add the onions. So onions in. Notice how I didn't season this yet. Remember, the pancetta is quite salty. Doesn't need a lot of salt. Mostly just pepper. But now the onions, what they're gonna do is they're gonna soak up the flavor of the pancetta, because a lot of the saltiness has been released from the pancetta. So now the onions are gonna completely stain. You see the color starting to go a little bit brown, and they're going to take on the flavor of the pancetta. That's what we want. So I'm getting a little bit tired of tossing. I'm just gonna get a spatula, move them around, something like that. So to get the onions transparent, you know, we just want to burn off the raw onion flavor that's so harsh that it hurts. That's what it makes people cry, the harshness. So we're trying to get rid of that now by lightly, not toasting it, we're trying to make it translucent, so light caramelization. Just so you can see through the onions. But again, I like to have texture. This is why fine dicing is a thing, but I like to have my onions stand out in the frittata, so this is a good size for me. Of course, you can always adjust it if you don't like it. Just gonna give it a quick toss. Just like that. Look, notice how all the oil is slowly starting to calm down. It's not too like, not too much anymore. Now, do not season them with salt because we're seasoning the eggs rather than the garnish. We're just gonna hit up the onions with some pepper. My oven is ready, that's the sound. It is preheated. So I added some pepper. That will give the heat to the onions. Very nice. Oh, my arm is getting so tired from tossing. Again, pan tossing is not a necessary skill, but it is just a showboat in the kitchen. So notice how the onions are now starting to get transparent. The harshness is starting to burn off. The pancetta is getting nice and crispy. That's good. We want to achieve crispiness in the pancetta. Excellent. Now this is our green light to start prepping our eggs, which we'll then pour in here and make our frittata. So as you can see, it's not a lot of garnish. I just made do whatever ingredients I had. Normally I'd be adding a lot more garnish in here. I'll probably throw in a carrot, some peppers, some peas, but I only have onions and pancetta today. So now let's make the eggs. So I got 4 eggs here. Just enough for that pan. I think that might be even too little, but given the amount of garnish there is in there, I think 4 is just right. So crack your eggs. Of course, go free range if you can. Healthier the better. Also, they're more expensive. So, 1 egg, 2 egg, 3 egg, and the last egg, just like that. Wonderful. I'm gonna wash my hands now. Ugh. Alright, do not season it yet. It will break down the eggs too much and it'll make the eggs super watery. No one likes watery eggs, we want creamy eggs. So get a whisk and start breaking it down right now. Don't spin it too hard because I do have a small bowl, so do handle with care. Though the yolks aren't breaking for some reason, there we go. Use a fork if you will, but a whisk with the given air will incorporate the yolks and the whites much better. Sorry for this bad camera angle. I'm doing this one man. So, make sure the yolks and the whites are nicely binded together. The worst thing you can see in your frittata is white bits, and that is when you don't beat your eggs well enough. This is what a whisk comes in for. Better than a fork. It does a better job than a fork. But do you see how lightly I'm mixing this? If I went crazy and started beating this really fast, the egg mixture would just spill everywhere. Nice and gently. Now normally if you have Parmesan cheese, this is the stage where I added some cheese to give some flavor to the eggs, but again I said I don't have any cheese, Parmesan cheese, only got Gouda, but I'm saving that to add into the garnish. So there's that. Okay. You can see the eggs nicely mixed. So this is 4 eggs, remember. Some are stuck to the whisk. Alright. Still, do not season it with salt yet. Just add some pepper. Again, give the egg some heat. We'll add the salt when we add it into the mixture. Remember, we're trying to get some saltiness from the pancetta. There is already natural saltiness happening. That's why I'm being so conservative about the seasoning. Now, this is where I'm going to pause the camera. I'm going to clean up my station a bit. And I'm going to open these packs of Gouda, individual packs. So this is also the time for you to get your cheese ready. So I'll be right back with the Gouda. Alright, so my cheese is ready. I've just basically roughly diced them up. Again, some chunk because I want some bombs of melted cheese in my frittata. So, my bacon and my onions probably are all the way cooked now. Pancetta is super crispy. The onions are more than sweet than ever. So spread your garnish out. One last row, and then now we're gonna throw in the eggs. This is where you gotta be quick because the eggs would naturally cook itself. So turn the gas down very, very low because we want the heat in the oven to cook the eggs. So at this point, turn the gas off because there's a lot of residual heat in the pan. Eggs go in. Notice how the frying immediately stops. It's like when you pour liquid and you start braising something. So push all your garnish in. Alrighty, that's a lot of garnish. I don't think there's enough eggs. I think I may need to add another egg. Just for the sake of the size. Now, we hit it with some salt. On the top. Get the saltiness in. See, now we season it, so therefore we're incorporating it with the natural saltiness of the pancetta. Alright, so have your gas down pretty low. We just want to cook the bottom, so make sure when we bake it the inside isn't raw. It's gonna be so much worse if the inside was raw. Now is your cue to add your cheese. Start to get them melting, kind of spread them out throughout the entire frittata. Just like that. It's kind of not as even as I hoped it would be. Still getting there. There we are. Right, the time has come. You can see the eggs are like still very, very runny, but you can see it's starting to cook on the side. This is where the oven will come in now. Yes, I'm wearing 2 different mittens, leave me alone. Stick this in the oven now. Tuck that in. I'm gonna bake that for about 10 to 20 minutes or until the frittata is nice and golden and it's fully cooked. So we're gonna leave that just to chill in the oven. Now we're gonna focus on making the hash browns. Turn the gas up on max, and now we have a wok. It's a wok, yes, because I am Asian, and we obviously need to have our stir fries from time to time. So this is our wok. I'm just gonna clean up some stuff here first. Stuff I don't need. So get that thing smoking hot as we prep the hash browns right here, because we don't have a deep fryer, and I do not recommend deep frying at home. But what we're gonna do instead is shallow fry with a wok. I will show you how that works. So that was pretty quick. You can see there's already smoke coming out of the wok. So this is the part where you gotta kind of step back and prepare yourself for some shallow frying. That pan is really, really hot. So we gotta be super, super careful. You can see there's literal smoke coming out. Now, for the sake of safety, I'm just gonna turn off the gas. I'll just turn it back on when we're actually cooking the thing, because I believe there's a lot of residual heat in the pan. Now we need a good amount of grapeseed oil. We need grapeseed oil or groundnut oil, but oil that can withstand a really, really high temperature. Remember, don't add too much oil, because after all, we are shallow frying, and we just want enough oil so the potatoes will soak up all that oil and get nice and crispy. So yes, this is not a green dish. This is a little bit unhealthy, but hey, treat yourself from time to time. And you won't have a heap of oil that you have to throw away after. So just a small, shallow pool of oil is good enough. This is where we start pouring the potatoes in. Be very careful not to hit yourself, so always have it facing away from you, so you don't splash super hot oil and stuff. Trust me, I've done that so many times and it's not fun. This is why we need lots of oil, because we are adding a lot of potatoes. Now let's turn back up the gas, and we actually need to start cooking this thing. This is straight from frozen. No defrosting needed. You just, cook straight from frozen. Now this is how I can show you. This is how we can take frozen hash browns and still make them delicious as deep fried traditional hash browns. Now, second step here involves salt. A lot of salt. No, this won't taste really salty. It will just be the right amount. Now the first stage of the salt, we add it now. What that does, it will start drawing out all the excess water in the potatoes, because after all, this is from frozen. And of course, when there's ice, there's water. There's water in these potatoes. We need to get the water out, so like mushrooms, once the water's out, we can focus on getting the actual cook on the potatoes and getting them super, super crispy. So second pinch of salt. That's it for now. You won't taste the salt at this stage. At least not yet. Give it a nice toss. See, this, you may think what I poured earlier is a lot of oil, but given the quantity of potatoes I put in here, it's actually just enough.
to get this potato really nice and crispy. It's just starting to brown now, so it will take some time, with a total of 8 minutes from start to finish. Now that we've mixed the salt will begin drawing out the water from the potatoes. Yeah, this wok's really heavy. Very, very heavy. Not that easy to toss. But you can see it's starting to become crispy and golden. The color, we need color. We're trying to achieve some color here. So this is not essentially shallow fry, it's like very, very shallow fry. But this is a much healthier way, you know, than deep fry traditional hash browns. Essentially just, yeah. If you don't have a wok, remember, you can just use a normal pan, provided it has some slopes and not so flat, but preferably use a wok. There we go. It's starting to get crispy. Nice toss. Now, this is the part where we add the second stage of salt. Now that we've gotten the water out, now we're trying to achieve crispiness. Salt will achieve the crispiness. Do not think that I'm over seasoning this, because, trust me, you need this amount of salt with this method to achieve the same results as a deep fried hash brown. Of course, if you have hash brown patties, the method will be different. What I'm using here, this is for diced potato hash browns. So for traditional patties, there's another method which you just bake and then you put it in the pan. But this one, it's all about the pan. All about sauteing, getting the flavors out, getting it nice and crispy. Alright, you can start to see the color is now very, very golden. Now that is crispiness. Of course, with the potatoes being this small, I don't want to risk overcooking it, so this is already good for me. The final layer of salt now to really bring out the season it so it doesn't taste bland. And then, this is also now the time to hit it with some pepper, because if we add the pepper super early, they will burn with the aggressive heat. And burnt pepper is not good. Now we add the pepper, and we give one final mix / toss. One kind of came out. And notice my gas off now, and it's still getting crispy just from the residual heat in the pan. But look at that. There we go, there we go, there we go. Now we're talking crispiness. Crispy hash browns. Obviously it won't be like so crunchy. I don't like that. It's just like a cracker. I want to be crispy on the outside and nice and soft on the inside. That's what we're trying to achieve here. These have been cooked directly from frozen. Hope you guys know this. So now this is very nice and crispy. You can hear the crunch. Good. These are absolutely ready. We're just gonna let them cool down now in the pan. Still wanna slowly warm them up just from the heat. Now the last thing we're gonna make today is the grilled cheese. So now, the butter I'm using here is the margarine. It's not margarine, it's actual butter. Margarine is disgusting, I will say that right now. But it's gone nice and soft, up to room temperature, making it very, very easy to spread on the bread. Just slather it very generously, because the more butter you add, the more crispiness there will be on your hash browns. You form that, not hash browns, your grilled cheese. You form that amazing crust, buttery crust that everyone loves on a good grilled cheese. There's that. Bread number 1, done. That on the plate. Okay, bread number 2. Spread this. See, this is what happens when your butter is at room temperature. Look how easily I'm spreading this. If we took this straight out of the fridge, it's gonna be ice cold, rock solid. You're not gonna have a fun time trying to spread the butter. Room temperature, always. Bread number 2, done. Bread number 3, Remember, 2 slices of bread per grilled cheese sandwich, so that's why. And only spread it on one side. I don't like people who like spreading butter on both sides because you're just gonna make the other side more fatty. And plus, you have the cheese already, so what gives? So I have the gas at very low temperature now. Just slap that bad boy right on there. There we go, just like that. Now let's get our cheese ready quickly as the side is getting nice and toasty. I'm using marble cheese. Use whatever cheese you've got, but preferably use slices or use shredded cheese, but I'm using marble here. There's that. I would say add 2 to make it, if you're a big lover of cheese, go for 2. Have it dripping out the side because these are big pieces of bread after all. So be a little generous. You know, I'm gonna move this slice over. Oh, already starting to melt. That's a good sign. I have this at a very low temperature and the sizzling itself is just from the butter from the bread. So no oil required. As the cheese drips off to the side, it's also frying. Who doesn't love fried cheese? Fried cheese is delicious, trust me. It will also help the cheese melt. Now we put our layer of bread on the top, just like that. Wonderful. Be very careful when you're putting your hands near the grill. You don't want to burn your hands. It's not a fun experience, trust me. Now here comes the tricky part. The hardest part when making any grilled cheese is flipping the damn sandwich. So be very careful when you're flipping. I made a kind of a noob mistake here and kind of like, what's it called? I didn't clean up size. Alright, there we go. You can see the golden crust is starting to form. Keep this at a very low temperature because we preheated this grill pan to a really, really high temperature. So there's a lot of residual heat. Now we just tuck in all the fried cheese, which is all the good stuff. Put your spatula underneath. One confident flip. Just like that. Now push down on the sandwich a bit. You want to flatten it so that when the cheese melts, the sandwich sticks together. The cheese is basically your glue, because normally in restaurants they have the giant grill machine. I don't, so making what I have. So look at the crust that's forming. Now the last part we're going to do now is to make sure the other side is also getting that same crust from the butter. Very, very nice. Oh yeah, that cheese looks delicious. Ho ho ho! Cheesy goodness coming right up. So the residual heat from the pan is just gonna cook or make the other side nice and brown, hopefully. So press down on it to increase the heat. There should be enough heat. The cheese is very sizzly. This side may need a little more frying time, but we'll see. So in the meantime, let's start plating. All right, Jake Paulers, the frittata's ready. Hash browns are ready. Got the hash browns that have been cooled down and now they are super crispy. If anything, I'm just gonna put them in here. You can hear they sound like boulders or rocks hitting the plate. There you go. That is the hash browns all done. Now my frittata. Ooh, that's hot. That is hot. Oh, that's hot. Ooh. Okay. Just Just took this straight out of the oven. This is what you're trying to achieve. Not a lot of color, but you know what? It's fine. I'm gonna show you another glance at the frittata. This is what you're trying to achieve. Very simple, straightforward frittata. Of course, if you put the broil, you actually get the brown, but I like a little bit of paleness. I think it's fine. So now what we're gonna do is release the frittata from the pan. Just run your knife. Like this, you can see that crust is already forming. This is why I put on bake, because, yeah. See, notice how it's still nice and soft, not too hard. So we just push this down, and then we just let this thing sit. I like to serve the frittata, like I like to serve it just in the pan itself. But of course, we're doing a video, so it makes sense that I have to put this on an actual plate to make it look nice. Now I've got exactly just that. Big, giant, pink plate. So now, the next step, what we're gonna do here is to release the frittata from the pan. Oh no, this is going loose. So, how do we do that, you ask? Simple. Do this. This will release the frittata from the pan. Hopefully. Okay, we're gonna need 2 plates for this. Alright. Last on the list, the grilled cheese. It's probably gone very nice and crispy. Look at the cheese here. It's gone all brown. That is so good. Super crispy cheese. This one's not as golden as I hoped. You know what? I'll flip this on the other side because the other side's actually more golden. Look at that. There we go. That looks more like it. This for this side. Let me just check on the other side. Let's see. Yeah, this side's better in terms of presentation. There we go. There we have it. This is my quarantine brunch. The intention of this video, I don't know. I didn't really have an exact plan when making this video, but here we are. So we got a frittata, which of course is a little bit flat, but I think it's fine. Just eat it more like a pizza. Of course, you can make it a little more eggs if you want it to have more height. You got my grilled cheese here, very simple grilled cheese. I'm not gonna cut it open. I know some of you are gonna want to see it, but my parents are about to be home, so. And then we've got simple hash browns showing you that yes, frozen food can be equally as delicious and healthier than normal fried food, deep fried food. So, yeah. All right, the final thing I'm gonna do now is to just cut open that grilled cheese and show you guys inside. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button to the channel and give a like to this video because, yeah, food. Who doesn't like food? And just showing you, yeah, I can cook. I mean, I've been learning how to cook for 4 years now. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you in the next one. And if you want to see more of this, just hit me up, just let me know. But apart from this, that's it. Have a great day. Bye-bye.